Okay, here we go. Yes, can you see the screen?
Yes, I can.
All right, yeah, let's get started.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Welcome to today's session of Sutta study with Venerable Bhante Sumita of Dhamma USA, based in California. Venerable is explaining the Sallekha Sutta, which means self-effacement. This sutta has been taken from the Majjhima Nikaya, which contains the middle length discourses. May I now request Venerable Bhante Sumita to begin sutta explanation. Thank you.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Honor to him, the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened One. My utmost respect to the perfectly enlightened Samma Sambuddha, the noble doctrine of the Buddha, and the noble Mahasangha, the disciples of the Buddha. Welcome to Sutta Study Series. And we have been discussing the Majjhima Nikaya so far. This is Sutta number 8, Sallekha Sutta, Self-Effacement. This sutta is a very, very important sutta, which was um, Buddha's meeting with Venerable Mahachunda. Venerable Mahachunda, interestingly, is the brother of Venerable Sariputta. It is also said Venerable Mahachunda was once the Buddha's personal attendant for a while. And he is the younger brother of Venerable Sariputta. And Venerable Mahachunda also visited the Buddha when the Buddha was sick, when the Buddha was living in Rajagir. At that time, Venerable Mahachunda visited the Buddha, and the Buddha asked him to recite the Satta Bojjhanga. Uh, so those after having recited those Satta Bojjhangas, it is said the Buddha recovered from his pain. So there are some interesting stories about Mahachunda, Venerable Mahachunda. He is a very important monk. And in this sutta, as we are going to conclude the sutta today, I just want to give the summary of the sutta. The Buddha differentiates between peaceful meditation and spiritual practices. And also, when asked about the doctrines concerning the self and the world, the Buddha gives here 44 aspects that we have already been discussing during the last few weeks. And so self-effacement is a very important practice. Even though the others do something bad or something wrong, you should not be encouraged to follow that, or you should not be discouraged to practice the true path. Even if someone is, or many, or the majority of people are doing something wrong, you should still be single-handedly able to follow the right path, no matter what. So this sutta is always emphasizing that. And the Buddha elaborates, incline the mind towards the wholesome state. And this list of 44 things to avoid is really, really important. And we have discussed how observing precepts and noble eightfold path. They were some of the major themes that we cover under these 44 things to avoid, and wholesome actions, and also eventually extinguish defilements. In fact, it is like in the end of the sutta, we can also give another short summary. It's like the Four Noble Truths. Buddha gives the root. Buddha gives talks about the this um, Sallekhas, and then the root of the Sallekha, and how to avoiding of the Sallekha, and the path to avoid the Sallekha, and eventually attain um, the the spiritual goal. So this sutta in that way is really really important. I would like to today start with our second segment here, Chittupada Pariyaya. Chittupadam pi ko ahang chunda kusalesu dhammesu bahukarang vadami yopanavado kayena vachaya anuvidhiyam. So here the Buddha talks about again, it is almost the same thing that we have been discussing, but um, it is again further categorized. And inclination of mind, chitta, chitta upapada pariyaya. So inclination of mind. Um, Here, mind should be inclined about so the first few things are about the sila, the verbal and the bodily actions that we do, and eventually the number 45, mind should be inclined thus. Mind should be inclined thus. Others will adhere to their own views, hold on to them tenaciously, and relinquish them with difficulty. We shall not adhere to our own views or hold on to them tenaciously, but shall relinquish them easily. So, even though the others are having some um, something wrong, we still have to be pure in our mind. And then in the next segment, Parikkamana Pariyaya, it is the avoidance. So the first one is um, the the cause here, and then it is like the truth of suffering, and the second is like the cause of suffering. And here it is the avoidance. Suppose there were an uneven path and another even path by which to avoid it, and suppose there were an uneven ford and another even ford by which to avoid it. So too, a person given to cruelty. Now it goes on to say, explain the same thing like before. Sayyata Pichunda Visamo Maggo Asa. Visama Magga is uneven or not parallel. Tassa Anyo Samo Maggo Parikamanaya. So we have to find Anyo Samo Maggo, another even path we have to find. Sayyathapi Sayyatha Vapana Chunda Visamang Tithang Asa Tassa Anyang Samang Tithang Parikamanaya. Suppose there were, Sayyathapi means like just as, or suppose there were an uneven ford and another even ford by which to avoid it. Always the Buddha is giving most of the time we get some similes or some kind of an example to explain the same. Evan kochunda vihinsakasa purisa puggalasa avihinsa hoti parikkamanaya. So a person given to cruelty has non-cruelty by which to avoid it. Now we can see here again non-cruelty and abstination from killing, they can come under the Panatipata first precept. And then one given to taking abstination from taking what is not given, that is the Adinadana. And then the Brahmacharya, here celibacy, abstination from false speech, Musavada, and then malicious speech, Pisunavacha, and abstination from harsh speech, Parusavacha, and abstination from gossip, that is Sampapalapa. And then these are the fourfold wrongdoings by the by the mouth. And we can see here bodily and verbally restraint, avoidance, and then uncovetousness and non ill will, and these are part of the mental um, mental defilements. And then we have right view, right intention, right speech, right action. They are part of the Noble Eightfold Path that we have discussed before. Right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration, right knowledge, right deliverance, right. So these are all part of the Noble Eightfold Path. And freedom from sloth and torpor, Thina Midda. Again, it it is a very important practice that we all have to learn, and sloth and torpor can be a great hindrance for all of us to while going towards the spiritual liberation. So when we come out of this sloth and torpor, when we come out of this non-restlessness and beyond doubt, and they are also part of the beyond doubt is like kanka. We have also something called satta. In satta visuddhi we also have something called kanka vitarana visuddhi. That means purification by kind of avoiding, getting rid of these doubts that we have. It's important that we clear our doubt. We are clear with our view. So all these things are really important in our way to Nibbana. And non-anger, again, they can also be um, mutually helpful, and some of them can be repeated, but also I think non-anger, non-resentment, non-contempt, they are all further elaborations of the same defilement. So same good, wholesome activity. Non-anger, loving kindness, non-resentment also can be non-contempt. They are also part of loving kindness. And metta, karuna, mudita, upekka also are included here. All these things here in this slide, what we can see here: non-anger, non-resentment, non-contempt, non-insolence, non-envy, non-avarice. Up to this, we can include, many of them can be included into metta, karuna, mudita, upekka. And then we also have here very important uh, Anus Amachariyang, Asatheyang, Amaya Attadhyang, Anatimano, Sovachassata, Kalyana Mittata, Appamado, and Saddha, Hiri, Ottappa, Bahu Satcha. Uh, Again, the Buddha talks about how the same thing as we discussed before, about the avoidance of those 44 defilements. And so this is the other side of those defilements, as against the defilements that we discussed before. So non-arrogance, easy to admonish, good friends, diligence, In the previous segment, we were discussing about the opposite of this: faith, shame, and wrongdoing, and also great learning, arousal of energy, establishment of mindfulness, acquisition of wisdom, and all these things are the other side of the coin. And then we have Uparibhaga Pariyaya, the way leading upward. So those things can be very helpful for someone to go even up in the spiritual ladder. Seyata pichunda yekechi akusala dhamma sabbete adhobhagang adhobhagang gamaniya. Say adhobhaga and uparibhaga. So adhobhaga is the lower segment, and lower section. Uparibhaga is the upper section. Yeke chikusala dhamma sabbete uparibhagang gamaniya. Chunda, just as all unwholesome states leads downwards. So the previous 44 defilements can lead someone to downward. And the second part that we just went through can be helpful for someone to go upward, kusala bhaga or upari bhaga. एवमेव कोचुंद विहिंसकस पुरुष पुग्गलस avihinsa hoti uparibhagaya. So a person given to cruelty has non-cruelty to lead him upwards. One given to killing living beings as abstention from killing living beings leads him to upward. So we can easily recognize how someone can go upward or downward, depending on how that person is practicing. And then one in the 44th, one given to adhere to his own views, same, who holds on to them tenaciously and relinquishes them with difficulty, has none adherence to his own views, not holding on to them tenaciously and relinquishing them easily to lead him upwards. So this is about the upward journey. And then Parinibbana Pariyaya, the way of extinguishing or Nibbana. So Atachunda Attana Palipalipanno Parang Palipalipannang Uddharisatiti Netang Thanang Vijjati. So Atachunda Attana Apalipalipanno Parang Palipalipannang Uddharisatiti Thanametang Vijjati. Now uh, here, uh, Chunda, that one who is himself sinking in the mud should pull out another who is sinking in the mud is impossible. When someone is already in the mud, it is difficult for that person to help rescue someone else. So, in order to help someone else, he or she has to come out of the sink mud first. That one who is not himself sinking in the mud should pull out another who is sinking in the mud. That is a possibility. So this is actually a good point here. When we practice, that will be very helpful first. First, we practice ourselves, and that way we can help others. That experience can be really helpful in rescuing others. So that is why sometimes people can think Buddhism is maybe like selfish, or you go to the Nibbana first and then you rescue yourself first. But this is the truth. First, we have to be strong within. First, we have to be trained enough because it is not going to be easy otherwise. Um, Even in modern psychology, counseling, and all that, all those subjects, it is actually the same thing. So one has to train properly, and then that person can help others. Otherwise, let's say like you want to listen to someone who is suffering, and then eventually you don't know how to cope up with that, you further suffer more. So it's important that you get the training, and your inner strength is good enough, strong enough, so that you can help the others. Same thing with Buddhist practice. You have to practice first, you have to follow the path first, and then it is easier for you to um, get others out of the mud. It's really a good point here. One who is himself untamed, undisciplined, with defilements unextinguished, should tame another, discipline him, and help distinguish his defilements is impossible. So first we have to discipline ourselves. We need to have the sila, we need to have the samadhi, we need to have the panya, and then we can help other people. We have to tame ourselves first. We have to get rid of those defilements first. Um, Having said that, maybe there can be like two different ways, like those monks today, like pariyatti and patipatti. There are two different ways. Pariyatti is learning the dhamma, and patipatti is the practicing of the dhamma. So those who learn the dhamma can also help others by teaching, and those who practice the Dhamma can help others much better way. So sometimes if someone is practicing the entire life and not helping others, is also not really a good way. Even though you know a little bit, you share that noble Dhamma with the rest of the world can be very helpful to others. So it's important. First you know, first you practice, first you learn, and first you tame, first you discipline yourself, and then you can help with that experience. Let's say you practice meditation for a while and you have some experience. Of course you may be not able to help others to attain arhantu, but you still can, maybe, like if you know the dhamma good enough. There are so many cases like that. Someone can guide others to achieve their spiritual goals. So it's always good to help others too. So you don't necessarily have to achieve arahanthood, but this point is also should be taken very seriously for by the practitioners. We have to practice. We have to really exert ourselves, make some good effort, so that we can help other people much more better way. And a person given to cruelty has non-cruelty by which to extinguish. Now, it is the same thing when it comes to the Nibban too. So, same 44 factors are explained here, how to get rid of. A person given to cruelty has non-cruelty. So, if someone has cruelty, he or she should inculcate non-cruelty, and then we can go to extinguish, we can go to Nibbana. All these 44 are kind of again giving to the fourth noble truth. This is like the fourth noble truth. Okay. And in the conclusion, uh, ඉතිකෝ චුන්ද දේශිතෝ මයා සල්ලේක පරියායෝ දේශිතෝ චිත්තුප්පාද පරියායෝ දේශිතෝ පරික්කමන පරියායෝ දේශිතෝ උපරිභාග පරියායෝ දේශිතෝ parinibbana pariyayo desito. So the Buddha talks about all the pariyaya, Sallekha pariyaya, and that is the way of the effacement, and then Chittupada pariyaya, and that is the way of inclining the mind. Buddha has taught that here. And Desito Parikkamana Pariyayo, how to avoid. Avoidance also has been taught here. And then Uparibhaga Pariyayo, how to go upward, leading upward, also has been taught, and eventually Parinibbana Pariyayo, the way of extinguishing, has been taught here. Yanko chunda sattara karaniyang savakanang hitesina anukampakena anukampang upadaya katango tangmaya. What should be done for his disciples out of compassion? Anukampa is compassion. Out of compassion by a teacher. Sattara means by a teacher who seeks their welfare and has compassion for them. That I have done for you, Chunda. This is really a very powerful statement by the Buddha. He said, if any teacher has some done his duty, should do his duty, I have done it for you. Out of compassion, I have done it, and I have already accomplished all the spiritual upliftment all by myself, and I have already shown you all the truth, all the path, completely, vividly, clearly, lucidly, for you to go and achieve the spiritual enlightenment. Etani chunda rukkhamulani etani sunyagarani jayata chunda ma pamadatta ma pacha vipatti sarino ahuvatta ayanko amhakang anusasa niti. I think this again is very wonderful advice, admonishment to all of us. What should, over here the Buddha says, there are these roots of trees, Rukkhamulani, and Sunyagarani means empty huts, and Jayata, meditate there. Jayata Chunda, meditate. Ma Pamadatta, do not delay. Ma Pamadatta. Ma Pacha Vipatisarino, do not regret. Otherwise, you will regret later. Ahuvatha, do not regret later, because maybe this is an opportunity we all have got. Maybe you don't know what will happen after this. So you might be born in a different realm, and you might forget so many things, and you might lose that memory. You might be associated with many wrong people, or maybe there is no Dhamma. Many reasons can be there. So do not regret, and work hard, work diligently. This is the Buddha's last utterance also. Handadani bhikkhave amantayamivo vayadhamma sankhara pamadena sampadita. Buddha's last words were also very similar to this. Work hard, do not delay, and meditate and achieve your spiritual um, spiritual achievement. Ayanko amhakang anusasani. This is my or our amhakang anusasani instruction. Idamavocha bhagava attamano ayasma mahachundo bhagavato bhasitang abhinanditi. Um, Idam avocha bhagava, idang avocha bhagava, the Blessed One said this. Attamano ayasma mahachundo, pleased this Venerable Mahachunda, Bhagavato bhasitang abhinanditi. Venerable Mahachunda was satisfied, attamano, and delighted, abhinandi, in the Blessed One's words. And Chatuttalis Padavutta, 44 items have been stated. Sandhayo Pancha Desita, organized into 5 sections. Sallekho Nama Suttanto, effacement is the name of the sutta or discourse. Gambhiro Sagarupamoti. Gambhiro means deep. And Sagara Upamo, just like the ocean. So this Sallekha Sutta is a very profound sutta, and I hope you need to go through again and learn more about this. And if you focus more on these 44 items that will be can be very very helpful to fix some of our mistakes, fix some of our problem areas in our practice. And so with that, I think we conclude here today. And um, thank you again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you later on with another sutta, that is the ninth sutta. Okay? And do you have any question? Is everyone okay? All right. So with that, then we conclude and see you again with the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem. May you be well, happy, and healthy. May the Noble Triple Gem bless you, help you, protect you, and guide you towards the right path. Sabbe Satta Bhavantu Sukhitatta. Sabbitiyo vivajjantu sabbarogo vinasato mate bhavattu antarayo sukhe digayuko bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba dhammanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba sanghanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you.